Hello, everyone, and welcome to our huge 1 year anniversary for Bible Action Math channel, where we will be having a $2,400 giveaway, and entries are due by August 16, 2026. We will have 40 prizes randomly drawn from correct submissions, and those will get $50 each. And we will have four extra prizes for pleasant surprises of $100 each. At this time, over $12,900 has been given away on this channel from August 16, 2025 to July 12, 2026. So that averages at over $1,000 per month, which was what my goal was in the first year. And then going beyond August 16 of 2026, I'm planning to continue doing it all throughout next year and maybe increase the money a little bit. So, in case you haven't seen our shows before, these are areas where people have won so far, all the way from Australia to the USA. And we give away money for college algebra every Saturday. Plus, we have had 8 additional giveaways so far before this one, which were the St. Bartholomew's Day of 2025, etc. So, for our new challenge, we will be looking at a verse from the book of Acts. And remember, I'm not pushing any religions in this channel right now. And we're looking at doing math problems using the Bible as literature. Here we have the New Revised Standard Version. And in the book of Acts, a man named Paul was speaking to some religious leaders. And a lot was going on. It seemed to be very emotional. And then I'm going to skip all the way down to this verse. It says, "In all this, I have given you an example that by such work we must support the weak, remembering the words of the Lord Jesus, for he himself said, 'It is more blessed to give than to receive.'" And this quote is the focus of our mathematical challenge due by August 16, 2026. And now if I go into the Greek and look for verse 35 in Acts 20 with this transliteration, it says, "In everything I showed you that the straining it behooves us to aid those being weak, to remember and also the words of the Lord Jesus, how he himself said, 'More blessed it is to give than to receive.'" So there are some words in here. This one, weak, for some reason is interesting. And it looks like there were about 33 occurrences in the New Testament of words that were similar to this. And it looks like there were 3 times with the exact same usage of the tense and format of the word. So, of those who were sick, it says now in New American Standard, impotent, meaning without power, in King James, sick, blind, and lame, sick, diseased, etc. So it behooves us to aid those who are sick, maybe, or weak, and to remember also the words of the Lord Jesus, how he himself said, "More blessed it is to give than to receive." And this word makarion has two exact usages in the New Testament, and the other one is later on in Acts. And here they call it either happy or fortunate. So makarion in this verse is translated right now as blessed, but a few chapters later, it's more like happy or fortunate. So perhaps we could think of it as meaning it is more happy to give than to receive, or it is more fortunate to give than to receive. And then there are other occurrences with different endings of that word here. So this is an interesting quote, and the purpose of today's challenge is going to be try to mathematically show the concept of it is more blessed or a Macarion to give than to receive. How could we show that mathematically? Sorry, I didn't mean to cross that off. So we're going to require at least two people, A and B. Now, you could make them groups of people if you wanted to. That's necessary. And it will be in the rubric later. And we must have at least two quantities. And that N right there makes me think of number. Okay. X and Y. So I'm not going to do a whole example right now, but I'll kind of start showing you a little bit. We have person A, okay, and we have person B. And sometimes in math, capital letters are used for points. So A is here and B is here. So A has X of something, maybe $500 or 500 rupees or something like that. Now, A gives Y amount to B. Now, B has Z plus Y, which is the old balance plus Y, but Y is less than X. So X is some amount of money, for example, $500 or 500 rupees. Y is a smaller amount of X, but maybe it equals to X. A gives B the amount Y from A's pile, which is X. Then B used to have Z amount and now has Z plus Y. And according to this concept, the action of giving the Y somehow is more blessed than the action of receiving the Y. Where blessed means something like happy, fortunate, or something else like that. So there needs to be more. This would not be enough to win. Okay. This is just like starting to show you the people and quantities. Okay. Now, of course, B could turn around and give maybe Y amount to C. And then C has little a plus Y. But now the new situation is A now has X minus Y. B now has back to Z because they had Z plus Y minus Y. And now C all of a sudden has A plus Y. And originally we had X, Z, and A. And now what do we have? These Y's cancel. We still have X, Z, and A. We still have the same amount of money here as we had there, but A has less, B has the same, and C has more. But according to this concept up here in purple, it is more blessed to give than to receive. When B gave the Y amount, that was more blessed than when B received the Y amount. Unless I'm missing something, but I don't see it, anything else. So why is it true, supposedly true, mathematically? How can we actually show that mathematically? Okay, so before I go back to the rubric, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this. So people might know I live in the United States right now. So it is more blessed to give than to receive, right? This is obviously a concept. Yeah. And then you could have the concept that something along the lines of it is better to be blessed than not blessed. Whatever blessed means. It could mean happy, it could mean fortunate. It definitely could have more of a religious idea to it or spiritual idea to it. This could be like an axiom. Okay. So if we accept red as just being kind of common sense, it's better to be blessed than not blessed. If we accept red and we take purple and we combine them with the and sign, something like this conceptually, then we're going to run into possibly another idea, which is it is better to give than to receive, which is a thought that I hear in the United States sometimes. So this could be thought of like kind of like a corollary, maybe, to the original idea, where it logically follows from the purple idea, this other idea. So if you're working on this and blessed seems too fuzzy, you could start out by working on how could it possibly be better to give than to receive mathematically? In what way could that be better? And I would actually like it if then you took another step back to go back to the original concept of blessed. So Now let's go back to our rubric. So for the rubric, you'll need to turn in your work by August 16 at noon Eastern time. So in New York City right now, we're on Eastern Daylight Time, but there's a little bit of wiggle room because of Eastern Standard Time is a little different right now. But anyway, it's due by noon Eastern on August 16 into a Google form. Each person may win a maximum of one BAM 1 year anniversary random prize for $50 and a maximum of one BAM 1 year anniversary surprise prize. There will be 40 $50 prizes and four $100. So 40 times 50 is $2,000 and 4 times 100 is 400. So together this makes $2,400. So what this two sentences mean is you can be randomly selected for a 50 and not chosen for a 100, or you could be randomly selected for a 50 and chosen for a 100, or you could be chosen for 100 and not randomly selected for a 50. And we've done things like this before. When it comes to the four 100s, that's going to be between me and Aunt Mango. We're going to think and decide which ones are the most interesting. It is definitely subjective. It will probably not be the first thing that AI tells you if you type this question into AI, because I want a lot of thought on this. We have over a month until it's due from now. It's July 12th. It's an interesting question, and I think it's deserving of a lot of thought. So I'm going to be looking for a lot of thought on these four 100s. And these 40 50s, I'm going to be looking to see if the rest of the rubric is followed. Now, nothing in this rubric says that you have to have a picture. It does have to be written by hand like I was doing. You do not have to have a drawing this time. But if you've been around this channel before, you know that I'm Uncle Benny, and my wife, Aunt Mango, we like pictures. So it doesn't hurt to put pictures if you're going to try to get to one of the chosen prizes. But don't have AI make your picture, because Aunt Mango and I are both professors and we are used to checking for AI. I don't know if we're perfect, but we're at least used to doing it. Everybody needs to use their own email account. So don't use your friends. Don't submit your friends for them. Use your own email account like usual. And you're trying to show the concept of it is more blessed to give than to receive mathematically. You have to include at least two people, A and B, and at least two quantities, X and Y, in your explanation. Remember, what I drew on that paper was not enough. I didn't really show how it's better or more blessed to give than to receive. I didn't do that yet. I had more work to do. So think and do not just go with the first thing you find online or what your friend said. Go beyond what AI says if you talk to AI about it. Because don't you think a lot of other people will get the same idea from AI? I want some unusual ideas that I'm not maybe thinking about right now and that are not the same thing that everybody else says. To win, you have to be at least 18 in a permitted country. Right now, I'm not allowed to give to Russia or North Korea, I think. You must have a progress pick, including every one of the writing instruments used in the work, as well as at least part of your actual hand, at least part of a finger. The Google form will have a section for your process pick that I have to see at least part of a finger and all of your writing instruments. And it will have room for a final pick, and you have a maximum of 3 final pages. That's because of grading time. This is going to take a while to grade. And when you guys put 5, it slows me down. So I'm trying to have a maximum of 3 final pages in your final pick, and you only need like 1 or 2 for your process picks. It has to be family friendly. And a new thing this time is you can include an About Me section in case you are one of the surprise winners, including your social media or your favorite university, sports team, etc., if you want to. And it has to be family friendly. So for that, make it obvious, put it in a box with stars around it so I don't miss it. So if you're one of the four chosen winners, I will show that About Me section if you put it there. Let's talk a little more. That's the end of the rubric. Some suggestions. So in the United States, just like other countries, we have a lot of universities and we have a lot of colleges also. Specifically, if you go in the US to a university, there will probably be a math department somewhere. It will probably be in an old building, usually, and there will be clusters. It will be kind of small rooms on different sides of a hallway. And then usually it goes around the corner and there are more offices down there. And it could go down there and stuff like that. So if it's a public university, you might be able to just walk right down to the math department. And when you get there, there will be doors to the offices. And on the door, there's usually a piece of paper that says office hours. Okay. So all of these professors usually have to have office hours. What do they do during office hours? They read their email, they grade, they talk to other professors, they play with their phone because they're bored, and they might check the news and they might work on their lessons and more than that too. And then also, what do? They answer questions. Now, the people that ask them questions are usually in their classes, but not always. Sometimes they're not in their class. Why would they talk to people that are not in their class? Well, what if someone's a math major or minor or even maybe engineering? Something like that, right? And they heard about you. They heard about Dr. whatever your name is. Okay. And Dr. Zena, we'll say. They heard about Dr. Zena. They want to ask you questions. Okay, fine. Or maybe they're in Dr. Zena's class. Or maybe they're going to be in Dr. Zena's class next semester. Or they're thinking about being in Dr. Zena's class next semester. But do you want to know something else? What about the public? So professors get this thing called an evaluation, like a lot of jobs have. And at least in the United States, usually there's a component that has to do with something about the community. Okay. So what do? They go to high schools and they do like public speaking. They speak at conferences, maybe. And sometimes they make videos on the internet. But if somebody came into their office during their office hours, remember when they're required to be there, and asked them a funny question that's mathematical, what do you think they're going to do? So if you walk into Dr. Zena's office and you're polite, and you knock on the door, it says office hours, and you say, "Hi, I'm thinking about this problem about how to represent mathematically that it's better to give than to receive, or it's more blessed to give than to receive." If you just say you're trying to win money or something on the internet, they might get interested. Maybe. It takes a little bit of skills to get in there though. But if you can get past that door and you can find a professor that would help you with this, wouldn't that be nice? Now, what if this professor hates the idea? The question is boring because they're not into that thing. What do you think they're going to do? You know what they're going to do? Is they're going to send you down the hall to right there. They're going to send you down to Dr. JoJo's because Dr. JoJo like whatever this is, right? So is it like this in other countries? It's very possible. So that's one idea. Another idea is you could talk to religious leaders if you want to. They don't necessarily know about math, though, very much. But some of them probably do, and they might have some ideas. They might have more context for the question that helps. Remember, I didn't even start reading Acts 26 to you guys. Maybe there's some hints over there. So that's optional. Both of these are optional, but I'm just trying to give you some kind of ideas besides just AI. But the main thing I want you to do is think. How can you give something? Don't you have to get it first? You have to get it. Don't you have to get something before you give it? But getting is less blessed than giving, if that idea is true, right? So that pretty much concludes this particular video. There's a chance I'll make another one to help you with this whole thing. And don't forget, it's due by August 16th. And everybody have a great day.